Hello, and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Tuesday, June 22nd. In this episode, we will not discuss Harry Kane going to Manchester City and its first bid. We will discuss
I don't want to talk about it.
An emotional, incredible Denmark game and the tanks of Germany rolling once again. They've gotten some gasoline from Baku, and now they are going to storm against Europe again. But first, Mike, we have to remind us of our announcements.
Yeah, and so we're really excited to see the progress for the Euro 2020 Squeaky Bum Time bracket challenge. So a bunch of people have signed up so far. Very exciting. We continue to get more and more people as the days kind of go by. It is currently Tuesday as you're listening to this. The bracket itself will open up once we know what the heck is going on and who's playing who. We'll talk a lot about that today in the show. And it is a bit crazy. I'm actually when I was looking at it earlier today, I was like, I have no fucking idea what's going on. Our friend Shari actually got two of the teams correct, and they're playing each other in the round of 16. We do know that much. So now he's like, well, my bracket's kind of screwed. So I'm glad that we're waiting for the round of 16 to start. But yeah, we will be we'll link it again. It's being run by runyourpool.com. It's a great website for managing these sorts of things. And of course, prizes sponsored by World Soccer Shop. We're really excited to be partnering with them, of course. So up to $150 for first place, 100 for second, 50 for third. So we're really, really grateful for them for kicking that in. And yeah, the only stipulation is that you must be a member of the Squeaky Bum Time Facebook group. And I don't want to confuse anyone. It's open. Everyone's welcome to join, right? I don't want it to be like exclusive. You can't come, play in our sandbox. We want you to play in the sandbox. Come on in. So it's all about kind of getting more people involved and just chatting about the football. So, so with that, come on in and let's talk a little bit about the tournament format to which we understand it. Because it's, shall we say, European, right?
It's so bureaucratic and European. Yes, yeah. That's exactly what it is. It's like, you must fill out 3 forms. And if you're in group P, stands on this line. If you're in group C and D, but not D, then you must stand over here. If they win and you lose, we win.
And shut off Josh Johnson.
Right. This is it's basically how the system works. We were looking at the matrix of the potential matchups. They had this giant mathematical, well, it's not that complicated, but how you finish and where you go. We still haven't figured out who goes where, but
there's not a good way to explain it is the problem, right? You're like,
well, we can explain it somewhat, right? If
you look at it, visualize, you're like, oh, that makes sense. But if,
right. So basically there are 6 groups, right? The first 2 teams from each group advance automatically. And the next 4 third-place teams advance. However, the Europeans, in their genius, have already paired the groups together based on which group finishes where. So it's like, if you win Group A, you play the third-place team in Group E. That's straightforward. That's, by the way, it's not accurate. But if you are the second-place team in Group B, you play either third-place team of Group C, F, or E. So when the thing finishes, it'll all shake out and the teams will know. So teams know where they're going to go dependent on which group they're paired with already. So it is very much all to play for because we only have 3 games. The tiebreaker is goal differential. So teams are playing, they're winning games. And in another game, a team lets off another goal, which means they drop into third place and it changes their opponent entirely. So I don't know who's making the fucking plane tickets, but it's bizarre.
Yeah. Now originally, so there's 24 teams in this tournament, up from 16 normally. And what you're effectively doing is you're saying, okay, we're going to go from 24 to what? To 16?
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah. Which is fine. It includes more of the smaller nations, the North Macedonias, if you will, the Scotland. The Hungaries. And we'll talk all about that in
Wales-ish, maybe.
Wales-ish. Well, Wales was in the semifinal 4 or 5 years ago, I said.
But they historically make one in every 4.
Sure. But the interesting thing is that I am warming up to this third place element more than I ever thought I would. Now, keep in mind, for the 2026 World Cup, not the upcoming one next November, They're going to have something similar of this format. Is going to be a 48 team field.
Can we stop for a second and just say next November, those Qatari fucking shithousers, what a crock of shit. They're going to fuck up a whole season just to have the World Cup in a goddamn desert. Anyway,
we are going to spill a lot of time on that. Believe me, as the season sort of gets going, we're going to, because we'll have that like appetite for international football kind of satiated, but there's no substitute for the World Cup, right? The Euros are a great tournament, but it's basically the dress rehearsal. So we'll talk a lot about that, but yeah, the third place element is interesting. And I'm finding myself opening up to it because what it invites is more chaos, right?
It's
and
weird.
you get a group like Group F, where France, Germany, and Portugal could all hypothetically survive. And it's actually quite likely that they will.
Not with the Hungarian Hussars playing at home like it's their life on the line. The light cavalry brigade charging through like they're going against Napoleon. What an incredible group.
It's enthralling every game, right? And we'll talk about Group F in a sec. But the interesting thing, as Laurent kind of said, it's the goal difference. Everything is so tight. There's only 3 games. So as we look at the ranking of current third place teams on what will be Tuesday morning, Switzerland have more or less made it through. They are, well, not a guarantee, but they are 4 points clear. They're in the top of the third place teams with a -1 goal difference. Portugal have only played 2 games. They have a +1 goal difference with 3 points. Ukraine, not looking good for our Ukrainian friends. They've got 3, but a -1, and even worse for our Finnish pals, 3 with a -2. Spain and Croatia are both sitting there, but they both have a game left to play. So there's, and that's only the top 6 of the third place teams.
And basically
fourth place teams.
4 gets you through. It already has at this point, right?
As a third, yes, 4 should get you through.
Yeah, that's a win and a draw. You're good.
Yeah,
a 3, you need to have a positive goal difference.
Yes,
like 1 win and 2 good draws. A big win and a couple of draws, you're probably fine. But if you've won 1 lucky game and gotten blown out, you ain't gonna make it.
And so the interesting thing right now is that the only team with 3 points and a positive goal difference is Denmark, who finished second in Group B, which is the next thing we'll talk about in a second here. But there's nobody currently with a positive. Slovakia is on 3 points. They're even. Nobody with a positive goal difference aside from Germany and Portugal, but they have 1 game left to play. Yeah. So it's hard to say.
Yeah. Ukraine is in trouble.
But speaking of 3 points and a positive goal difference, Group B finished up yesterday, I should say. And wow, what a tremendous ovation and just
celebration, really.
Celebration of the country of Denmark. I think.
Yeah, it was in Copenhagen, no restrictions, no COVID. They gave 0 fucks. The whole stadium is in red. Russia is wearing red. The Danes are wearing white, which is kind of weird. Russia's, they're still Russia. It's an old enemy. They're playing tight. They're playing deep.
Well, let's set up the game, right? Because going into the game, Belgium's going to be through. They have 6 points.
Yeah.
They're going to be top of the group. Russia's in second with 3 points. And I believe it was a -1 or 2 goal difference, but they're okay.
Yeah.
A point gets them through. They're fine.
Yeah.
Finland, last place. Finland was in third place with 3 points, having beaten Denmark in that tragic Eriksson game. Had they turned around and kind of snuck a goal. Yeah. So they're even on goal difference with the 3. So they're actually, they're playing Belgium, but they've got a shot. And then Denmark sitting 0-2 in trouble, right?
Yeah.
They have what I would say Russia wishes they had on their side, General Winter, right? They had the home field advantage. They had all of it going. They had the juice, but they needed a win.
They had a lot of juice. It was awesome.
Yeah, but they needed the win, and
then they needed goals too.
Right, they needed that, and so they got a lot of both. It was, I believe, it was 2-1 late in the second half. Denmark comfortably in control of the game. An early goal, a second goal. Russia pulls one back, on a penalty. And the moment of the tournament,
the guy dove, by the way.
Yeah,
it was bad.
The moment of the tournament for me There's two at least, and both of them probably are Denmark goals. The first one being the first goal against the Germans.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, the Belgians, excuse me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then earlier today or yesterday, Andreas Christensen, our pal from Chelsea, comes. There's a volley on the outside of the box, and he strikes it so pure. And it really, you were saying, it sort of looked like effortless, right? That's some of the best shots always do. It's not like it's like
they're
powered
not.
up.
It's not a thunder blast. Yeah, no, it's very smooth.
Yeah,
and he's a smooth player, frankly.
Yeah, and it's a laser beam into the side netting, far side of the net, and just all of Copenhagen, all of Denmark, right? And the caption that I saw was it was a goal for all of Denmark. And so they go 3-1 up, they get a late one for 4. And all of a sudden Denmark jump from 4th in Group B to 2nd, automatic qualification. You're in. And it really was a moment to be cherished for everybody involved.
And then the other piece was the first goal was somewhat forgotten, but still it was Damsgaard, who we had talked about. He's like 20 years old, coming in for Eriksson. He looks like he looks like a little kid with a giant head and a no backlift shot. I mean, it's class. And the ball from Højbjerg zipped in there. As we know, Højbjerg can zip a pass in, but when he's actually attacking and allowed to pass forward, then it actually passes to people in places who can score goals.
Yeah.
So that was amazing. Then I thought he had a shot somewhere before that goal that he laced that I was like, why didn't you just take the penalty like that? I know game was different. But
it's interesting. Højbjerg's had an interesting tournament. He's got 3 assists now in 3 games.
Yeah,
he had 4 assists all year for Spurs.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that you have to play different roles, right? He's too talented to be a goon in Denmark, but he was instrumental. They got another goal from Poulsen. Poulsen's goal was a complete mistake by the Russians, who seemed to be falling apart at that point. But the cheering was so amazing because he goes down, he's half in tears, and there's beer flying all over him, which is an amazing shot. Poulsen plays for Leipzig. And then the Christensen goal is just, it's otherworldly. It's a hair raiser. It's a, what just happened? Because it's on a straight line. Weirdly, we had good goals this weekend. I'm going to bring up MLS. There was a goal like that in the Union Atlanta game. A guy shot from half, like the same shot where it's just rising and you're just like, this is going to go in. It reminds me of our friend Victor Wanyama against.
Oh, in Anfield. One of my favorite goals ever.
One of the greatest goals ever. Yeah. That's what football does. It has a weird, and I like to talk about these things because they are the things that connect football over seasons. The games wash away after a while, right? You know, you only remember the moments. You only remember the Aguero goal. You only remember the Battle of Stamford Bridge. Everything else doesn't matter. Even the trophies, if it was a bad season and nobody cares, this season that City just won a league, there's no moment.
Okay, so you folks listening to this aren't going to see what he does now. But if I say, Vinny, no, to Laurent, what happens?
It's our hair stands up. It's Leicester 1-0. It's magic. It just happens. It just happens. Those are the things that happen. They are, stones off the line. Right. Oh God. Yeah. But that might only matter to my team. But this is going to be that Christensen goal for everyone who was at that game. It might have been 40,000, but in 10 years, it's going to be 80,000. And 10 years after that, it's going to be 150,000 people who said they were at that game. Yep. And these games live on and that goal lives on. And that's how legends happen. That's why Maradona is better than Messi, because he has 2 of those goals in one game in one World Cup. No one talks about the fact that he was coked out of his mind for all of his career and that's okay. How he's considered better than Messi blows my mind. But he has those 2 goals in live color in 1986 when there was nothing on in the rest of the world. So everyone remembers that goal and they love him forever. That's what Christensen has just done. Yeah. He gets that moment.
Absolutely. And so that's really the goal that rubber stamped there.
That made it a legendary game.
Well, yeah, but that's the goal that got them to the round of 16. It was over
because of goal difference. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and even the last goal on the break is pretty fucking good.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say pleasantly surprised by this Denmark team. They took the most literal gut shot you could take. And then took a proverbial one
a bullshit one to have to keep playing, kind of.
Well, and then to lose the game on kind of a shitty goal. And then you turn around and you go, well, now we've got to play Belgium. An emotionally draining.
And they were awesome in that game.
They were
even
great.
Though they lost. Yeah.
They were great. And so you watch after the Belgium game, you go, well, they let Finland get away, and now they're really up against it. And an even more inspired effort today against Russia gets them through. It's a phenomenal story. It's a really, really great story. We don't know where they're going to land yet, but it's going to be
by the refs. But someone might die associated with the Russian FA.
It's possible.
Soon. Little
it's
poison.
Possible.
That little bitch. He poisons people like a woman.
Of
Catherine the
we
Great.
don't know where they're going to land yet. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really fun.
And then at the same time was the Finland game, and everyone's just hoping Finland stop giving up goals. Because if they keep giving up goals, then they slip out. But they are now in the third place spot. But Belgium has 2 more goals. I think it's Lukaku on both. No, it's an own goal and Lukaku. Lukaku, of course, was onside for the Golden Boot for this tournament, and he has 5 goals. So things are happening there. But I mean, I don't think that Belgium is going to be tested until that we find out who they meet in the round of 16. A lot of these teams aren't going to be tested until they find out who they meet in the round of 16. And that actually takes us to our big boy group and the Wehrmacht Mannschaft of Germany, who changed their narrative with a big display against Portugal that I don't think you and I agree on. I thought they got fucking handed the game. And Goossens played well considering a 38-year-old and a winger who can't defend and almost took down Wolves was on the wing.
So no, I don't think we agree. I think we look at it slightly differently, right?
Yeah.
So, yes.
So we could probably go through the result, right? So Germany beat Portugal 4-2, which is a big deal considering Portugal won everything on defense last year and had the Premier League's Defensive Player of the Year in their midfield, in their defense with Diaz, and they played 2 holding midfielders with Carvalho and Danilo. But their coach Santos just leaves one whole side open with a team playing wingbacks, and he just gets lit up. Yep. And it doesn't change. It just keeps going.
He kept going. And so Goossens ran into that space and just continued to exploit it all day. Really clinical finishing from a wing back, right? Like that was really
11 goals.
Yeah, I get it. But it was an impressive effort. I mean, he was man of the match by a wide margin, and he had the first goal of the game chalked off for an offside on was it Sane or was it was who was playing their number 9 role? It wasn't Sane.
Who?
Gnabry? Germany. Yeah, Serge Gnabry. He was offside by a hair. It bounces over to Goossens on the left with a great finish. Really was a bounce back and forth sort of game for a while because they get that.
It literally was. The XG was 2 to Portugal, 2.1 to Germany.
Right. And then they go right back down the road with Diego Jota coming down the break. And it was funny. We talked about it on the last episode, how he did not square it to Ronaldo and Ronaldo screamed at him. And so like a fool, somebody here bet on Jota to score. Cause I'm like, you know what? He's got the eye for goal, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but it's there. He got one.
First goal scorer.
Yeah.
So he comes down and he dinks it over, crosses it to Ronaldo, squares it for him, and he taps it in. So I was just beside myself because I thought to myself, I'm like, he's on a break. Like, this is awesome. He's gonna. Oh, come on. So,
but here's the thing to remember. Like, Portugal went up early from Ronaldo, like you said. Then they gave up 2 own goals, Diaz and Guerrero. Now they were questionable. They were close, but they go into halftime having scored all the goals in the game. I'm not buying this German freaking they've got everything right thing. They try and pull this bullshit against a real team. They'd be like, no, we're not. We're just going to mark that guy.
Yeah.
Right. Like, yeah, Robin Goossens is good. Okay. He's of a right age. He's 26. He's been playing in Serie A. He's had a couple of really good seasons, from the wing back, 9-7, 10-6. That's fantastic. He's playing, he's part of the group that's lifted Atalanta into the spaces that Roma and AC Milan want to be, and Atalanta is this plucky team and whatever. But you gotta mark the guy. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you are Portugal. You have the players. You can see what he's doing. Someone on the pitch be like, "Hey, Dick, go fucking mark him." Yeah. He was standing out there on his own.
He was wide open. I mean,
all day.
He did a lot with the opportunities he was given, but my goodness, he had all the space in the world.
I just kept thinking, like, where are the midfielders? Like, go out there.
One thing I want to bring up about Gosens is that he, like you mentioned, he plays for Atalanta. And when they played Juventus this past season, he asked, I don't know if you heard the story, he asked Cristiano Ronaldo for his jersey. Now, obviously, a lot of players do jersey swaps. He looks up to Ronaldo, idolizes him, all that. Who wouldn't, right? Ronaldo looks at him like he's the scum of the earth, goes, "Who the fuck are you? Get out of my sight," right?
Which is weird because that's so not Ronaldo's brand. He doesn't do that. I don't know what happened there.
I could see him doing that, though.
To a schnook, sure.
Yeah, well, he doesn't. That's the thing about the thing about Ronaldo, that why I believe this is because
sure it happened.
He looks at everybody like they're schnooks because they're not Ronaldo, right? So nonetheless, he doesn't. I think he wrote a book or an autobiography or something like that, and he effectively talked about it. And he says, I felt like worthless and a nobody and so foolish and all this. And now all of a sudden, 7-8 months later in the Euro,
German shame. He had to go rub different colored shit on himself because they have multiple fucking words for the word for shit.
Yeah.
They have like a Jalonstutenstadwenschliff, which means, poopy from a dog. And then they have different words for shit. So he rubbed all the different shits on himself.
Yes.
Because he's a German.
I am curious if I was a son of a bitch and I was Robin Gosens, I wouldn't even ask. At the end of the game, I would just go take my jersey off and go hand it to him.
Sign it.
Yeah.
And then when they give me the game ball, give it to him. Sign.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We want to take care of paying our bills here. And to do this, little live read courtesy of Chop Sports Podcast Network. And speaking of saving money on our bills, our friend Joe at Attitude of Gratitude Consulting has a very unique way to save you plenty of cash on your monthly bills. Visit Attitude of Gratitude Consulting for more info.
We like to snack here at the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast. And man, we just received our shipment of some of the seasonings that Sunflower Meadow Seasonings has sent us. They even have a brand new cheddar beer dip exclusively made for the Chop Sports Network. It is delicious. You have to try it. Mention Chop Sports when you talk to Jess and save some money. Visit sunflowermeadowseasoning.com for their entire lineup of products.
Well, I mean, listen, Portugal, that group is still super duper tough. And, we've been kidding around about the Hungarians and my desire to talk about the Hungarian Hussars and the Hungarian Revolution and the Revolution of 1848 because I like to get my wars in. But the Hungarians really hung tough. They may or may not have made Nazi salutes in the stands. It's a little
really?
Yeah, it's a little touch and go there.
Missed that one.
There's
your Nazi reference.
But I wasn't expecting it to be 2021 Nazis. I'm more about the old school.
The 1941.
Yeah,
Nazis.
The ones that they're gone. They're lost. I know they lost. The new ones scare me. They do have a whole section in their fan section of guys wearing black shirts. Oban in Hungary is a little bit of a populist right winger. They're trying to repeal all gay rights, repeal any Western stuff. And they're wondering why the EU might want to kick them out. They're like, well, we're already in the EU. You can't kick us out now. Human rights to this, bitches. So, it's just a little bit of reactionary stuff. I'm enjoying it, but the Hungarians are showing off their sort of nationalistic pride. They're sort of one and the same. It's a little bit dangerous. They pulled France to a 1-1 draw, and we're going to beat France until Griezmann pulled one out.
Well, hold on.
The XG is bad, but
I watched that whole game. Well, I tuned in around 15th minute, but there was so many opportunities for Griezmann, for Benzema. There were 4 or 5 chances for just Mbappe by himself. None of them were potted right before halftime. And it was so interesting. As the first half unfolded, Rafael Varane got a really dumb yellow card. And he's playing very aware of the yellow card. He won't go near anybody. And if you watch the goal that Hungary scores, they take him on down the left wing on the counter.
Right. And he can't tackle him.
He doesn't go near him. He doesn't touch him. And he goes,
because he doesn't want to get sent off.
Right. And he goes, well, Lloris has got this one. And he didn't. It wasn't so much that it was Lloris's fault. I mean, it's hard to blame the goaltender on a one-on-one situation, but beaten near post, you're always going to kind of raise an eyebrow. And so they go into the break down 1-0. Shocked because I think the shots at that point, and we talk about it almost every week, how there's some game where it's a Burnley City matchup where Man City have 17 shots at halftime and 0 goals, and Burnley have 1 shot and 1 goal, right? That was this version of that, right? And so they cut off the second half. But
France were pretty bad, and Pogba was bad, and
Pogba was bad.
It's that up and down thing that happens with him that drives you nuts. It's just like, my G, like you can't put in performances like this. Like, I don't understand how they have the attacking prowess that they do, and they just can't break teams down. And it's because sometimes I think they don't take off the handbrake. Like, yes, in this one they did put Luca Digne on, a real attacking, left back who can cross the ball, and spent half the season playing freaking wing back.
Well, okay, and he can't play 3 games in 10 days, though. So that's
no, but he was just like an extra.
You're going to sit him.
They didn't need to be defensive. They were like, hey, let's go get this game.
Yeah, sure, but at the same time, you're going to play him against Germany and against Portugal. You're not going to play him against Hungary, right? Like, that actually, the schedule worked out perfectly. So like, we're going to sit Digne.
Yeah, but it could hurt. Like, if they don't, like, they don't have any margin for error now, right? They have to play.
No.
They have to play.
Portugal.
Who are they playing? Portugal. That's not going to be easy. Like, Portugal's good. We saw
this
that.
Is where we get back to the third place teams, right? We said as it stands currently, Portugal have 3 points with a plus goal difference. If they lose, they will obviously no longer have a plus goal difference on 3 points. So we could be talking about Portugal going home. France with 4 points, they look pretty good. Because what will happen more than likely is, regardless of what Germany did or did not look like,
they're good on 4.
Regardless of what Germany did or did not look like, right? Let's just assume that they beat Hungary. Okay.
Yeah, a loss would have been a disaster for them, but 4 is fine. They'll be fine.
So let's say Germany, they're on 6. France and Portugal, in any result, Germany wins the group, aside from a France victory, right? Yeah. But if France lose to Portugal, then you've got Germany on 6, Portugal on 6. It comes down to goal difference for first and second, but that's irrelevant. And then you've got France on 4 with, at best, an even goal difference. Should get them through because it's already even better than Switzerland. They should be fine.
Yeah.
But they're not mathematically through yet.
But then there'll be real inquest. Like, you didn't beat Hungary, and now, like, you're wondering what happened.
Right.
But tomorrow's group, we have the Scotland, Croatia, England thing. Unfortunately, because England's on 4, they're through already. So this game,
that one's kind of done.
And the Czech Republic are through already. But I think your guys, Croatia versus Scotland, is a blood fight, especially because Scotland were really good versus England. I don't. If they win, do they have a chance?
Yes, absolutely. If they win, then they're minimum -1 goal difference with.
They'll be on 4. Yeah, they'll be in good shape.
Yeah. So,
but they need to win probably by 2. If they're on -2,
I don't know because you start to look and you go, okay. So the only other there's right now, Group F has a third place team, right? Group C does not. Group E will most likely have a third place team, whether it's on 3 points or 4.
Yeah.
So that's effectively it, right? Like, you have to beat the third place team in 2 groups to get it. Switzerland seems like they're going to be 1. I already said, like, it's very likely that I shouldn't say likely. It's possible that Group F has 1. It's very likely that E has 1. So if Croatia gets a W, they're on 4 points with an even goal difference. That again puts them ahead of Switzerland.
Right. But they want to pour it on. Teams are going to want to pour it on. But Croatia has been the worst team in their group.
Yes, right? They have by a solid margin.
Their XG is almost -1, which puts them.
No, it's minus. Well, their difference is -1.5.
Yeah. So they're there. I like the way Scotland has played. I thought they could have beat England easily England were terrible. England need a performance, but I have a feeling that, they're going to, knowing England, they're going to show up at this game, play free. He's going to play the Grealish-Sancho version of the team with Calvert-Lewin at striker, and they're going to drop 4 goals on the
Well,
check.
he already said Kane's going to start, and I think that's the right move. You can't go into this game, which again is a dead rubber, and have something good happen without your talisman. And then every idiot in English media is going to be calling for Calvert-Lewin to start ahead of Harry Kane. Come on.
Not as good. It's ridiculous.
So it's, but you should be
now. If you
Sancho.
said Danny Ings, then maybe.
Well, at least Danny Ings is like a better version of like Clint Dempsey, where he's pretty good, but he's just smart. He's in the right spots.
Dude,
he's positionally
such a
sound.
Good finisher.
He's a good finisher. He's not that great with the ball, but he's good in position and he puts it home. And realistically, that is 97% of what a fucking striker has to do, right? So no, I get that. I would put Kane on for 45 or 60. Assuming the game is in hand, you take them off, you bring on Ings, you bring on Calvert-Lewin, you bring on, even Rashford, so to kind of get them some time, make sure Kane is healthy and good to go for the round of 16.
Yeah.
But you've got to go with him again. It's just,
I think the other key is to get Harry Maguire on the pitch for some minutes to play with Stones.
Yep. Absolutely.
The less I see of Mings, the better. I just don't trust him.
No, I get that.
Even though he's left-footed.
You know what broke him was that offside nonsense against City late in the season, where it was like he just completely was confident in the rule being the rule, and everybody's like, yeah, that makes sense. And the VAR was like, nope, we made it up.
So apparently the Dutch have an awesome system. They go with the ruling on the field and check, and if the lines touch, it goes with what's on the field.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think we talked about it on our last show. Is VAR the problem, or is the Premier League's interpretation of VAR the problem?
Again, we don't have to go through this, but it's the illusion of precision. It just needs to be accurate.
Yeah.
Not precise.
Well,
the fact that you try and tell me it's precise is what makes me insane. And then you're killing the goal celebrations. That's the problem. It's the goal celebration.
Of course.
And the idea of like waiting to call offside.
It's the dread.
Yeah, it's fucking awful. It's
the 3-second pit in your stomach where you should be losing bodily fluids from freaking out from excitement, where you're sitting there horrified, right? And that in and of itself is curbing the sport.
I need to go back to a group that has that is a barbell group. We're not really talking about Italy and how fucking incredible they've been. And then the other piece is how fucking awful Turkey have been.
Awful.
Turkey were supposed to be good. Turkey have good defensive players. Turkey have fun guys that when they're on your team, like, who the fuck's that under guy on Everton? That guy was fun for 3 games. Yeah. I like him. Soyuncu, I'm like, yeah, City should get Soyuncu. That's who Spurs need. And then they come in and they're worse than North Macedonia.
Yeah.
They literally are worse. North Macedonia, considered a country that did not exist until some Serbs killed a bunch of people. I think, I don't know. Don't come at me, Serbs. I'm scared of you. They have scored 1 more goal. The Turks are the worst team in this fucking tournament. They're -7.
They had the 5th worst tournament ever at the Euro.
Is that really where they are?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pathetic.
It's bad.
What are you doing in Turkey?
By the way, this is not in a group where you have France, Germany, and Portugal. You have Italy. Sure. Fine. Understood.
It's Wales.
You have Wales and Switzerland, 2 very, very winnable games.
Let's just put it this way. Turkey has more population than those 3 countries combined, plus Group B. Russia has a lot.
Not Russia, yeah.
but
give them 6
come
teams.
Come on, man. There's 80 million people live in Turkey. You can't put 11 dudes out there that can go score some goals. What the actual fuck?
Hey, you're speaking of Russia killing people. There's going to be some dead Turks.
They're too lazy.
Oh, they'll kill everybody.
Oh, well, you just grow a long beard and spin around for a while like you're a Sufi mystic and you'll be fine. I don't even know what I said, but I like it. Yeah, they've been really disappointing. I was really hoping for Turkey because I knew they had such good fans. And I think I picked them in more than one group, but they've just been awful.
That's a great segue.
Super fucking bummed out by how shit they are. I was hoping that Undar would have his chance to sort of do stuff. I was hoping that Shalkanoglu.
No, Hakan is his name to me. I can never say his name. I love him, by the way. I'm a big fan of him. He's great. He's a free kick wizard.
Yeah. And then, I love Soyuncu, and I just thought that he was such a defensive rock for Leicester. And kind of when he was out, they were kind of in trouble. But then they just fucking shit the bed, and I'm super bummed out. And you know what? I'm blaming Islam. Islamic teams don't do well. Don't put don't put that half moon and star on your flag and expect to win anything.
Going through the predictions we had from a couple weeks ago, we both, Italy was the biggest sure thing in this tournament, winning the group. I had Wales because I'm a homer, and you had Turkey finishing second. I had them third.
Wrong.
We both had Switzerland in fourth. So we kind of didn't really go into who we thought the third place teams would be, mostly because we were confused.
Yeah.
But how about that? We both got something wrong in this group, right? So I nailed it.
Yeah, I think the issue is that we're completely underrating Switzerland because they're kind of neutral and you don't care. You're like, Switzerland, who's going to get mad at that? And they have been good, and I forgot that they have all those murderous Balkan people on their team.
Yeah,
in Shaka.
But I still think it's more of Turkey dropping the ball than it is Switzerland succeeding as it pertains to that group and third and fourth place, right? So, and to be fair to Switzerland, they finished third only on goal difference to Wales. So fair is fair there. But it was Italy was the class. That was nothing new. We go to Group B. We already talked about it, but very similar circumstances. Belgium, the class of the tournament, or the group, I should say. We both had them winning the group with no issues. I remember on the preview, you said you thought that Putin would pay off the referees and therefore Russia would get in. And up until yesterday's games, you were correct. I don't think anybody had. If Denmark didn't have Christian Eriksen, I don't think anybody's picking Denmark to come out of the group. I picked them to go second because I thought Eriksen. I did think they have a good supporting cast, but nonetheless, I thought they had one of the it players of the tournament. And obviously, he's no longer with the team, but they prevailed nonetheless. You got everybody wrong except for Belgium because I had Russia third and Finland fourth, and you had Denmark third and Finland fourth. So, okay. All right. Although Group C, Laurent goes 4 for 4. Okay. And this is where he comes back. Netherlands, again, total breeze. We did foresee Netherlands having more of an issue than they did.
They've been really good. It's kind of annoying because it makes me mad because I hate Frank de Boer. It's again, this is so, okay. We go back to the format. This is one of the symptoms of a larger format. You're going to have big teams who are then, sometimes in groups where it's very, very easy to get through, and you're not going to see them really get tested. So you're going to have teams that come out of the group stage higher seated and higher placed than they maybe should be sometimes. And I think Netherlands is a good example of this. And then they get a really good opponent in the first round. We don't know who the Netherlands is going to play yet. Because we can't figure anything out.
But it's likely that it's going to be a team that's going to give them a hell of a lot more problems than Austria, Ukraine, and North Macedonia did.
Yeah, everyone in that group got a win, right? Like if you're in there, you're like North Macedonia, hello, not game team, and I have my points, please. Thank you.
Right, exactly.
Later. Although they were fun, they were good, and they put a lot good effort, and they just don't have the talent.
You know what? They and I forgotten that they had defeated Iceland in a late.
They beat Germany.
No, I know they beat Germany in the qualifying,
which is insane.
But in the qualifying playoff, they beat Iceland. They took Iceland's spot essentially.
Yeah.
On an 88th minute equalizer and then a late goal in extra time.
So someone named Goran. I don't even know which one.
Right.
Five Gorons.
Yeah. They're all clones. And then we'll see what happens. The rest of the games between today and tomorrow between groups D, E, and F.
I think the one to watch for is like Spain, who's like literally the best team in terms of expected goals. But the problem is that they have Morata, who fucks up all expected goals because he's either offside or he falls down or he just shoots it wide.
It's really, really that. So,
and the other thing is to remember is if you miss a penalty, that's a 0.7 on expected goals. So always remember that. And we've had 5 missed penalties.
Yep.
So that really sort of puts a damper on expected goals. By the way, I'm looking at Italy's team fixtures. I think they've only given up 4 goals in 3 years.
Oh yeah, they have 11 games without giving up a goal, and I think 13 unbeaten.
No, they have no. They I can't. Let me count here. You keep talking, but I think
okay. So Group E is going to be really, really interesting. Lewandowski's off the mark, and I'm hoping against hope that Poland can kind of sneak their way through. I think I said in the preview that I thought that Poland would get in as one of the third place teams. I had Sweden in second, and they're sitting pretty right now. But I believe that they are going to be playing Spain in the last game. I'm sorry. I believe they're playing Poland. So
I don't trust Spain to score goals. If they had Lewandowski, then they'd be the best team in the world.
Right.
But they don't. And if they're going to have Moreno and they're going to persist with Morata up front, I think he needs to like shave his head, go for like a luck change, use different hair grease because he has the most weird fucking dark hair. It's unnatural. It looks like he's putting boot black in his hair. I just don't think like it just makes no sense. That team, like one of these fucking wingers has got to score or else they're not going to score. Now it could be totally wrong. Like they could just blow these teams out, right? Because they have the talent of Spain. But again, it's these institutional teams, these teams that play with an institutional style of like Spain, where they're like, well, we can't play a different way because we're Spain. The Dutch have that problem. That's why I don't like Frank de Boer. He's trying to make them play the Dutch way. I'm like, but you don't got the Dutch way players because the Dutch way came out in 1972. Yeah. Right. But I mean, I like the idea of identity. It lets everyone know, everyone gets taught the same way. But if you don't have the players, right, they don't have a great midfield right now. I mean, I've seen Rodri play. The guy's not a fucking playmaker, and he's still sitting there, expected to break lines with passes. And, he's 6'3" and he plays like he's 5'5" because he's a Spaniard, and that's how they play.
No, I get that. So Slovakia poses a challenge for them. And
I agree. I think they do for sure.
For Slovakia, a point should be good enough to get them in.
They'll play for that point too.
They'll play for it. A point leaves Spain almost definitely on the outside looking in with 3 and an even goal difference then. But I think the real story here is Sweden and Poland. We are robbed of the Zlatan versus Lewandowski game, which would have been something. That almost sounds like the 2021 version of what was the game of horse commercial? It was Jordan and Bird. Magic and Bird.
There was also the Mia Hamm one.
Right.
I can do better.
Yeah, well, no, I'm thinking of the old Magic and Bird commercials, right? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I'm very interested because now if Poland gets a victory out of that, then they're more or less, let's assume it's a 1-0 victory. They're even with Sweden on everything. They will get the second tiebreaker on goals 4, which, by the way, Emil Forsberg has the only goal for Sweden in the tournament on a penalty. So they have no goals from open play through 2 games. I
love Forsberg so much. Oh my God.
Yeah, I like Isak a lot more. But we'll see.
But that's 2 creative players, and Isak, they could have had 2 or 3 goals already, right? Like they're playing like this is one of these things where you watch the game, like Sweden is playing well. They're clearly there. Like there's a game that Isak's going to score 2 goals, right?
Well, maybe. Because there's a chance that they don't get there, right?
Remember the one where he goes through 4 guys and Berg just misses?
Yes. No, absolutely. But that's kind of the point, right? If that happens,
that's Sweden, right? Exactly.
If that happens, then Spain might be going home right now, which is pretty crazy to think about. But I think
as much as I'm rethinking as I go through it, as much as I think about it, it's like Enrique. It's Luis Enrique, and it's Spain. There's no way they're gonna fucking.
Of course not, right? They've got a game against Slovakia. If they get a result, they're in. If they get a win, I should say, they're in. You've got to feel good about your odds there if you're Spain. But again, going back to this is actually a very similar setup to how Group B was earlier yesterday. Obviously, Sweden had a bit of a margin. I'm sorry, Belgium had a bit of a margin than Sweden did, but Poland's in last place, and they're going to come out firing. I'm not saying that they've got all of Copenhagen behind them, but they have Robert Lewandowski and they need goals. So they will need
I just think that he's got to come for the ball.
You're right.
If he thinks he's going to sit there and wait for the ball to come, it's just not going to come. Like, you got to go get it. You've got to make the pass to the guy. You've got to come deep, pass it to the center back, take off and go, dude, kick it long. Right. I'm making this play so that you have time. Fucking
and
mutton head.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man, right? Is he going to be there? And I'd be hard pressed to bet against him. I'm talking myself into a little wager on Poland tomorrow. That's what you're hearing right now. So we'll see.
Don't bet on Poland. This is not a winning country.
It's a suckers. Yeah, it's a suckers
like,
bet, right?
This is like, oh, we're good. The Russians invade. No, we're fine. The Germans invade. No, we really got it this time. They both invade at the same time. Like Poland, can you just dig a fucking moat so that no one can run through you again? Like, they don't have a natural border. They're kind of, we're a little German, we're a little Russian, we're a little this. My guy, you just have to come together and be Polish. And please, God, don't get fucking run over again. It's awful. Poor Poles.
Group F, predictions for Group F before we get the hell out of here. France, Portugal, Germany, Hungary. Give me you had France, Portugal, Germany, Hungary at the beginning of the tournament. What do you see with one game left to play?
I don't expect Hungary to get a result against Germany. I think that there's a lot of cultural sort of dominance of Germany that I think the Hungarians will sadly sort of be too meek. It's weird. I know that doesn't sound right, but there's a cultural dominance that Germany has over their neighbors, where Hungary is one of their neighbors where like, oh, the Germans will never beat them, but they play France like, yeah, fuck the French.
Germany said so.
Yeah, exactly. So I think of that. And then France, Portugal, I'm less and less convinced by Portugal, because if Santos is going to play fucking Pepe and Semedo and he doesn't think that Mbappe is going to run on that side, or the wing backs or Deschamps won't figure something out, then I worry for them. But if France stay in this sort of defensive shape and don't exploit the wide areas the way Goossens can, like, it's not like France doesn't have the players to do it. They have to choose to do it. And if they don't choose to do it and Pepe plays again, then France deserves the draw that they'll probably get. Right? I want to see France be like, we're good in this group. Let's go fucking batter someone. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they have that in them, because they're fucking weird. I don't understand why they don't go kick the shit out of people, because they're too good not to. Now, like, I think, frankly, it depends on Pogba. It depends on whether those balls come off that he can get into Griezmann, and whether Mbappe has the opportunities to go one-on-one with Pepe, because we know Diaz has got fucking Mbappe locked up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with my heart, because I've fallen in love with Portugal. I'm gonna go with a draw between France and Portugal, a 1-1 draw, which means France finishes with 5, Portugal with 4, and a positive goal difference. That's more than enough to see them through. And Germany houses Hungary, like you said, so they finish first in the group. So Germany, France, Portugal, I think, is going to be how it ends, which is not how I had it at the beginning of the group, but nonetheless, that's how I see it finishing. So I think that does it for us. But before we go, reminder, please do us a favor and sign up for the 2020 Euro Bracket Challenge. We are so excited to have everybody involved. There's $300 in World Soccer Shop gift cards available. And we just, it's free to join. So make sure that you're a part of it, and it's a lot of fun. And you're going to, as we just chronicled our picks, you're already going to be better than me and Laurent.
And then for Thursday, things will start to get clearer, and we'll know what the matchups are, because they're going to get weird, because goal differences are making a difference everywhere. And then we'll be able to sort of get that cleared up and things will get solidified and we'll know who's who and everything will come into view.
Yep. All right. Take us home.
All right. That was the Squeaky Bum Time podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show because it makes a huge difference. A like, a thumb, and anything. Share. I actually had someone scan my phone at a soccer game to subscribe to the show.
Wow. Look at that.
It was awesome.
That's cool.
All right, folks. Bye.